Falling in love again. And this time it's with you. Alright, look, I think I'm ready. Let's start talking title fight, shall we? Let's start talking title fights, shall we? I'm doing that because I've moved my Arsenal shirt a bit higher. That's my idea of decorating the set. Getting the set ready for you guys. But alright, so Petr Yan against Jose Aldo. Look, so obviously this is a vacant belt. Triple C, Henry Cejudo retired after beating Dominic Cruz. That was kind of back in May, was it? I can't really remember timelines these days because I'm just at home every single day. But that's another story. But yeah, so obviously Henry Cejudo vacated the belt, and Aldo was the guy that was meant to get the shot at Henry Cejudo to start with. He was unable to fly out to the States, so he maintains the position as a challenger for the title. But it's just a vacant title, and he's fighting Petr Yan. So the similarities between the two of these guys, because they're both strikers. They're both accurate and they're both powerful. Jose Aldo, however, I'd say his takedown defense is very, very strong. And if he does get taken down, he's very good at getting back up to his feet. And if he does get taken down and he's unable to get back up to his feet, his jiu-jitsu, his BJJ is very strong. Petr Yan, on the other hand, he's, again, like I say, he's primarily a striker, but I'd say he's more of a come forward fighter. Like he applies more pressure with his presence. He remains in the face of his opponent, whereas Jose Aldo, he doesn't mind separating, moving out of range, and then coming back in with powerful shots, whether that's kicks or punches. So with them having similar strengths, their styles are slightly different. Do you know what I mean? Look, Aldo, for me, by far, no, it's not for me, it's just a fact. Aldo is by far the more experienced fighter. He's been in way more 5-round fights, and he's gone the distance way more often than Petr Yan has. In fact, Petr Yan's never gone 5 rounds in the UFC, and when he has gone 5 rounds, I'm not saying that his opponents that he went 5 rounds with were no good. They're just guys that I've never heard of. They were in other organizations. That is an advantage for Jose Aldo if he's able to use his experience and pace himself throughout the distance of 5 rounds. But I'm going to come to that a little bit later. Another thing that kind of, I wouldn't say favors Jose Aldo, because it's an unanswered question, but we don't know, or I personally just don't know how good Petr Yan is. Now, don't get me wrong, he looked good against Uriah Faber, and Uriah Faber is a wily old vet, but at the same time, he isn't a guy that you would consider to be capable of winning the championship at this point in his career. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is the level of competition that Petr Yan's faced in the UFC, for me personally, it doesn't warrant a title shot. Do you know what I mean? I think the way things are played out and the timing of things have helped Petr Yan establish himself as one of the guys in this fight, a contender for the belt. So I suppose this is going to be Petr Yan's, clearly it's going to be his biggest test since he's been in the UFC. But is he at that level? Ooh, someone just scored. Sheffield United just scored. Is he at that level? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I can't tell you, and we're going to find out on Saturday night. The thing that I like about Petr Yan, and the thing that I've seen him do since he's joined the UFC, is there's a lot of people that are pressure fighters, and there's a lot of people that come forward and like to be aggressive in the cage, especially like strikers like Petr Yan is. But the thing that I find with Petr Yan is it's similar to how I describe Max Holloway. It's control pressure. It's not just stepping forward for the sake of stepping forward. It's stepping forward with a strategy. It's stepping forward with managing the distance, not getting hit with counter strikes and maintaining that pressure and throwing punches. The only difference is Peter Yan doesn't throw as often as Max Holloway does. Now, in terms of this particular fight, Aldo, I remember, I wouldn't say it was a huge amount of success, but Aldo had success when he fought Max Holloway. I can't remember whether it was the first or the second time, but it looked like, oh, this is going to be a fight here. But what let Aldo down was the fact that he succumbed to the pressure of Max Holloway, and he started to wilt, and it felt like he started to gas. So where I was talking about earlier about the fact that Aldo having the advantage when it comes to experience in a 5-round fight. Even in 5-round fights that Aldo won, like that Mark Hominick fight, for example, years ago, when he had that music, I'm coming home, tell the world I'm coming home. It was emotional for Canadians. Who remembers that? I might watch that after this, because that was actually quite emotional, because it was like 60,000 people or something in the Rogers Centre, Toronto, Canada. I don't know if it was in Toronto, but that music came on, and the crowd, like, half of them was crying and half of them... Oh, why am I talking about that? Anyway, so even in that fight, Aldo was all over him for the first 3 rounds, and then the last 2 rounds, Hominick kind of took over. Now, I don't know whether that is because Aldo just exerts himself, or I feel like it's because Aldo, when he throws with everything that he's got. And that's what Peter Yan, I feel like, is good at. He doesn't necessarily throw full power every single shot. I was watching Dan Hardy's breakdown of Peter Yan, and he said something that I've not personally noticed, but I'm going to look out for it in this fight. He said Peter Yan's happy to throw punches with the intention of missing, just to see how his opponent reacts. It's almost like a feint. So rather than moving, like, without actually throwing, he throws just to see how his opponent's gonna react, with no intention of connecting. Aldo don't do that. Aldo, for as long as I've been watching him fight, when he throws, he's trying to fucking take your head off. Do you know what I mean? I haven't seen Aldo ever, like, I don't know whether I've just got it in my head that Aldo stopped throwing leg kicks because Joe Rogan has said it a few times, and that he had that one fight in WEC years ago when he just kicked the shit out of Uriah Faber's leg and broke his leg or legs or something. I remember, I didn't actually see it live, but I remember watching that fight like 10 years ago or something like that. But it just feels like Aldo doesn't focus on throwing leg kicks, and I feel like if Aldo's going to win this fight, with Peter Yan putting pressure on Aldo, Aldo's going to have to hurt Peter Yan early, and he's going to have to get Peter Yan's respect, because if he's not able to do that, then Peter Yan will just do to Aldo what Holloway eventually did to Aldo. And I think it will happen in a lot more of a vicious manner. It won't be an accumulation of strikes and then Aldo just wilts. I reckon Peter Yan will finish him with by knocking him down and then just following up with a barrage of punches, and the referee will have to step in. So how do I see this going myself? Look, I'm not going to say Aldo can't win. Aldo is definitely capable of winning. Aldo is definitely still a very high level mixed martial artist. He's still got the skills when it comes to striking. I just don't know whether he's got the ability to keep up with Peter Yan. And I just don't know, as the rounds start clicking over, we move from the first to the second, I don't know whether Aldo will have the responses to the pressure that Yan's going to be putting on him. So in terms of my prediction, because I believe Yan is more controlled with his striking, and even though Aldo is more experienced and he's had more 5-round fights than Yan's had fights in the UFC, I still think Yan gets this done. I think Yan gets this done within the first 3. But before I finish, I just want to say, just like, if Peter Yan does beat Jose Aldo, for me, that still doesn't cement him as the best 135 pounder in the organisation. For that to be the case, he's got to beat Aljamain Sterling. And until that happens, he's just the champion. He's not the best. Let me know what you guys think. Don't be scared to hit the like button. Share this with a friend. Put your comments below. Let me know who you think's going to win. Let me know what you think of my assessment. Do you think I've done a good assessment on this fight? Yeah, just let me know what you guys think, man. And then we can go back and forth, chop it up. Catch me in the video for... What's the next one I'm doing? Volkanovski and Max Holloway.